This is my reflection on my submission for Vanderbilt's 2024 Writing Symposium. This piece was written for one of my final assignments in my first-year writing seminar, Shakespeare and Music, and that course was taught by Professor Cynthia Cyrus. The assignment asked that we cast a scene from a Shakespeare play in rap lyrics in a style reminiscent of Margaret Atwood's novel Hagseed. We had been studying Shakespeare's play, The Tempest, and various pieces of media that stemmed from that, and so we read this novel, which was basically Atwood's retelling of The Tempest framed in a contemporary setting. The basic premise is that the main character, Felix, is an ex-director that got fired from his old job due to a betrayal from one of his staff, and the novel is about his plot for revenge. During this time, he gets a job as a teacher at a local prison, and he uses Shakespeare to teach literacy to prisoners, which becomes intertwined with his revenge plot. It's a unique artistic choice to frame The Tempest in this way, and one of the ways Atwood takes advantage of this contemporary setting is through the use of rap lyrics. One tool that Felix uses to teach literacy is to have prisoners write and perform raps to tell scenes from Shakespeare within the novel. And to understand why Atwood makes the choice to write this, it's important to understand that The Tempest, thematically, it's very much a carceral play. It has themes of confinement, isolation, and there is an overarching struggle for freedom. And so you can see how these themes might map well to the setting of a prison. Rap ties into that, because in the novel, Atwood is really situating rap as a genre that can be thought of as calling back to the theme of freedom. How Atwood does this ties into rap being an African-American born genre. For example, one of the raps in the book is performed from the perspective of a character named Caliban from The Tempest. And Caliban is this creature that is kept captive against his will by the main character Prospero. And in Atwood's novel, a prisoner writes a rap from the perspective of Caliban in a way that supports Caliban, in a way that's advocating for Caliban's freedom. And a direct line from that rap reads, "Ain't gonna get on the back of the bus, and you can give your land rights back to us." And this is a direct reference to old segregation policies in America. And Caliban's refusal of that premise kind of calls to the civil rights movement in a way, where the main goal was to secure protective rights and freedoms for African Americans. This is just one example, but throughout the book, Atwood is situating rap as a genre that calls to this theme of freedom, which works really well because The Tempest is a carceral play about the relationship between freedom and captivity. Even outside of the context of the book, there are instances of rap becoming a tool for social activism and as a way of calling for freedom from injustice. Rappers like Tupac and Kendrick Lamar, they're known for writing very politically charged music that often calls for social change and freedom from the systemic oppression they were facing. So, all of that to say, Atwood is using rap as a medium for storytelling to call to this recurring theme of freedom within The Tempest. After reading this book, my teacher gave us this assignment to write and perform a rap in the style of Atwood that tells a scene from Shakespeare. It was intended to be a fun assignment that would allow us to write creatively, and so I found the writing process pretty enjoyable. You will see that I chose the famous balcony scene from Act 2 of Romeo and Juliet. One, because it's just iconic, but I also thought that freedom was just as much of a theme in Romeo and Juliet as it is in The Tempest, because Romeo and Juliet is about these two lovers that are seeking the freedom to love without causing trouble between their feuding families. And so I thought a rap would map well onto this scene. In terms of the writing process, I think one of my main challenges was conveying the dynamism and forward drive of the scene through a rap with only one speaker. It was easy for the writing to feel static, and I wanted to establish a strong sense of dialogue between the two characters, despite the fact that I was only one person. And I had to work to have that come across. I think one of my big takeaways from this assignment was how rap, and by extension poetry, can serve as means of imbuing energy into writing. I think this work is interesting in that the performance matters just as much as the writing itself to really show its essence. As part of this assignment, I had to perform the work for my class, and so I showed up with a speaker, I had a freestyle beat in the back and everything, and I performed it live, and it was really fun. And it was a way for me to reconcile my previous qualms with writing. I used to not be the biggest fan of writing. I thought it lacked the energy of live performance, and I study at Blair, so live performance is really what I trained to do. And I found that this assignment and my performance allowed me to bridge words and their expressive capacities with that electric energy and rhythm of live performance. And looking back now, that seems obvious. I mean, that's what songs are. just like framing writing within a temporal medium, giving it this new dimension. But I still think it was important for me to do this assignment so I could see the way that worked for myself. It was a super memorable experience, and it was a great way to end my writing seminar, which was one of my favorite classes from my first semester. I'll acknowledge this is not the most serious piece of writing. It's lighthearted, it's playful, but I still think the essence of it comes across, and this is a true juxtaposition of time periods and expressive mediums, and that's really what my Shakespeare and music seminar was at its core. It was exploring unification of really 3 different mediums: writing, theater, and music, and looking at the art that arose from that and what the effects of that were. Writing this work was a great way for me to reflect on how Shakespeare and music could interplay, and I hope you enjoy reading it. Thank you.